So we're in savasana, and nothing is compressed. So if you have the roller underneath your head, can you move it to the side now? If it's underneath your feet, that's fine. I want you to go into full savasana. So you can do that again with the roller underneath if that's nice for you. And again, let's open up those shoulders. Just pressing on them, opening up that sternum a little bit higher towards the sky. And closing the eyes and just feeling. And welcome to your trigger point yin. Yin yoga. Go back into the breathing. A lot of people have misconceptions about what yoga is. Yoga is not about being bendy. It's about showing up on your mat consistently, not knowing what's going to happen, and be okay with that. It's about rehabilitating yourself and not believing in the experts when they say that you're too injured or too old. It's about believing that you can do anything, even if it's the most scariest, impossible thing you could ever dream of. It's about uncovering who you really are. It's about being kind to yourself so that you can then learn how to be kind to others. Yoga is about discovering the most of the crazy thoughts in your head are not true. It's about being healthy without pushing yourself to the limit. It's about slowing down to get strong. It's about breathing and moving and smiling on the inside. It's the hardest thing I've ever done, but also the best. So yoga is not a philosophy or a religion. Yoga is ancient. It's been helping so many people heal and breathe. So we think too much and feel too little, says little Charlie Chaplin. So yoga is the control of thought and the waves in the mind. And now we want to immerse ourselves in the now experience of the mind-body, the union, the yoke, to allow the breath to replace the thinking mind as the guiding impulse behind your movement and your stretch. So every movement you make, you're taking a breath in and out through the nose. So if your palms are down, turn them up, at least briefly. Find that breath again. Finding that nice diaphragmatic breath. Maybe creating an jaya, that sound of the throat. A nice passive breath. Filling up all the tissues with every breath. And allowing the tissues to exhale, knowing you're still bringing prana in on the exhale. Prana is life force. Breathing in and breathing out. Taking the opportunity every day to create silence in the mind and the body and connect to the truth. Really erasing some of those illusions. On your next breath in, if your feet are apart, just bring them together. And slowly bring up one knee at a time. And so if you have the roller underneath, just bring that roller a little closer. And then lift up the body by pressing into the heels. Remove that roller if it's there. And then slowly tucking the tailbone under and allowing the sacrum to touch down again. And staying here for a breath. And then take that roller and place it directly behind your head. And so we're going to have that roller right behind the head. I forgot my roller at home. And now you're going to be looking up towards me. Keep your eyes closed. And just again, just feel that nice pressure of that roller on the neck. So without moving side to side, just feel the weight of your head against that roller. Take an inhale and turning your head to the side of your choice. And then take the exhale, take it the other way. Breathing in and breathing out. And continue on your journey side to side. Taking your breath with you with every movement that you make. So again, your eyes are closed and you're operating within. You're just feeling every movement. I want you to take it to whatever side you choose and hold it there. And breathe. And just taking your head and holding it to that kind of stretch, semi-stretch position. And then make little rolls on your roller. Breathing in. And breathing out. And if your roller has gotten away from you, tuck it in closer. Really feeling it on the occipital, that bone in the back of the skull. Maybe there's a good spot there. Again, with your eyes closed, you can take more in and feel more. Listen more by creating silence in your body. If it's uncomfortable holding your hands open like that, just place them on your body if that's better. Breathing in and breathing out and taking it to the opposite way if that feels nice. If you feel like it's too much to keep your knees up like that, just widen your feet a little bit and allow your knees to collapse together. Support you. Breathe in and breathe out. If your feet are close together, just take them about hip distance apart. And decide whether you want to collapse your knees together. Just really releasing the body from doing too much. We're just working on the neck here. Knowing that we just finished doing some trigger point on the neck. That was on more in the front body. But feeling it in the back body where there's a lot of people that have headaches coming from here. Knowing that the traps are attached to that bone I'm talking about. Right from the shoulders, right up to the top of the neck. Really close to the spine. Just enjoy your stretch. Enjoy your breath here. If you haven't already, welcome in that passive Ujjayi breath. Breathing in and out through the nose. Perhaps lengthening your breaths. You can continue rolling if that feels nice, or just situate yourself in the center and pause. And when you're ready to grab the top of your head, lift it up a little bit, remove that roller to the side, just behind you, and then back down you go. Just find a nice flat back here. If you lost your breath, come back. And here's where I want you to create an intention for your class today. Maybe it's about being more mindful with your movements or more mindful with your breath. Maybe if you're just feeling more opposed to searching for that feeling. Allow that feeling to come and go and pass. Just take a couple more breaths here. And the first thing I'm going to ask you to do is to bend the right knee and the left knee, and then take a hold, interlace your fingers and hold that knee closer to your chest. So you have your hands over top of the knee, and you're just going to hold it for a moment and then breathe. Tucking the elbows in close to the body, relaxing the shoulders away from the ears, tucking the tail, not the actual chin, into the chest. Relaxing the neck, maybe going back and forth. Make sure that neck is not working hard here. And if you're going to, please extend out that left leg now and have full contact with your heel. This is more called the wind removing pose. What I want you to do is really give a good squeeze into more of the shoulder area, avoiding the rib cage. And so just going into breath in and breath out, and feel perhaps a pinch in your hips. If your calf has left the ground, I want you to flex your toes up towards the ceiling, so you're pointing it towards the ceiling, flexing the toes back towards your face. That is only if your calf isn't touching the ground. But take it easy there. We just want that connection with the left side. Now I want you to connect to the shoulders, both shoulders, not rolling to the side. Breathing in and breathing out through the nose. And again, just making sure the knee is going towards the shoulder. If it hurts to pull on the knee, you can grab a hold of the hamstring. One more breath, full breath. And if you have a sore back, you're probably wanting to drop that leg slowly, mindfully, as you're lifting up the other. So let's have you just slowly drop the leg to the ground, extending that right leg, and then slowly picking up the left. And again, holding the knee, tucking the elbows in, lengthening the spine, trying to avoid the rib cage, and feel that compression going on. Compression is yoga is a really good thing. It's like kind of like the ball work, where you're working a trigger point. And this trigger point that you could be working on, if you're feeling into the front of the body, could be the word that we will be working soon. The iliacus, or the psoas, the front body, the one that creates a lot of low back pain. So if you're not feeling anything great, but give it a little bit more of a pull. Really pull that knee into the, not the rib cage, the shoulder. Breathing in, breathing out. Just a couple more breaths here. Beautiful. One more breath. And extend that leg back down and join the other foot. And relax your feet out to the side, savasana. Whatever we did, we're now just feeling the body respond. Relax, take a breath in, and then a breath out. And then slowly grab both knees at the same time, maybe one at a time. One up. And if you can interlace your fingers, or if you can grab a hold of opposite elbows, if you're that flexible, your choice. I want you just to feel your knees connected, pinching a little bit. Again, maybe you're lucky and you're just feeling it in the glutes. That's a wonderful thing too. So not crossing the ankles, just feeling a beautiful sensation, like you're giving yourself a hug here. Dropping the shoulders away from the ears, maybe just lowering that chin, more connection towards the chest. Couple more breaths, full breaths here. Relax the feet. One more breath. And then slowly extending one leg at a time, back in savasana. Beautiful. Find the breath. And then you're going to pick up one knee and then the other, taking your feet wide apart. And so our feet are pretty much off the mat now. Taking your hands out to the side a little bit. If you're going into a teep, be mindful of your neighbors, maybe into cactus here. We're going to create a little twist. So I want you to drop your knees over to the left and just allow yourself to hang out here. So you're creating a nice twist, nice sensation for the spine. And just hang out here, just feeling, not moving. So if your feet are not well distance apart, you're not going to feel much. But if that's not comfortable for you, then it will still feel something. And so listening to your body, if that hurts your knee, maybe you need to switch it up. So I just want you now to just find your arms in contact with the floor. Maybe just your hands facing down or up, your choice, and relax. And take an inhale and look towards the right. And stay there. And breathe. So we're going to be in this pose for another minute. Breathing in and breathing out. And recognize what's going on in the upper body. The upper body is where we can create the yang component. You may be wanting to make it deeper. If you're wanting to do that, you can go ahead and take your right foot, or it depends, everybody's going in different ways. Take your bottom foot and lift it up and place the anchor over top of the knee. I don't recommend doing this unless you know what you're doing. Just stay here. And if you're doing the full spinal twist, you're looking opposite way to where your knees are going. If that's not comfortable on your head, on your neck, or on your shoulder, listen to your body. Breathe in and breathe out. Don't have to do much here. Just staying here for, let's say, 3 more breaths. Let it go. Knowing that a twist is so important to do to release a lot of toxins. Think about that spine and how we don't move much there. It doesn't take much to release. So when you're ready, take your head back to center on your next inhale. Maybe lower your hands back down and really gather up the strength of your abs, removing the foot from the top of your knee if you haven't already. And then slowly picking up those knees and just land in the center. So you're not doing anything, you're just hanging out now. Just feeling what you created. Feel the imbalance between sides. So we want to create the same thing that we did to the other side. So whatever you did, if you took your feet nice and wide, if you didn't, then you do the same thing. So slowly we're going to take those legs over to the right, or whichever way you went before, being opposite. And just stay here. Knowing for yin, it takes at least a minute for the lower body to actually relax. So before we get involved with the upper body and really completing this twist, we take our time to allow the lower body enter into the twist. And when you feel ready, doing whatever you want with your hands, maybe you went into the cactus, maybe that was too much because your cactus was not touching the ground. Maybe just keep it down this time. And then let's take the look the opposite way at the left hand, perhaps that's where you are. And again, we can use the upper body as a yang. Not doing anything with the lower body and noticing that yin isn't completely true. Because we're always kind of fidgeting and moving. And sometimes, and most times, it's a very good thing if we're listening to the body so that we're not hurting ourselves. So going into your nice twist. Breathing in and breathing out. Let's just do a few more breaths, conscious breaths. Beautiful. And when you're ready, slowly returning your head back to center. Bring your hands back down if they're up. And releasing your hand, your legs from the hold. Bring your knees back to center. And resting and pausing. A lot of times we're in a big hurry to reach our destination. And right now, we want to experience the journey. So when you're ready, and if you haven't already, go into your full extension with your legs, taking your arms back by your side, savasana, and just feel. What I ask you to do is what I ask a lot of my clients to do daily. Before they get out of bed, the wind removing pose, by grabbing a hold of one knee, going through the same sequence, and then going into a twist of choice. To do this every day, to open up the body every morning, is something that's going to just bring you more balance in life. And maybe it's the most yoga you've done forever. So we're going to be introducing a trigger point release. So that calls on you grabbing a hold of your tennis ball. So I place tennis balls next to people that are close to me. If you can't see your tennis ball or handy, please, good, looks like everyone's got it. I want you to bend your knees again and take them feet hip distance apart, and we're going to place that ball right into the glute, right into the butt, in the center on the right hand side. And rest there and be careful. It's hard. And it may be too hard. In that case, you're going to be asking me for a softer ball. I have a few of those. So you're just again, like you did with the shoulders, we're going to just hang out for a moment. And then we're going to do an extension of the right leg to the floor. And the left knee is bent, and that's your motor here. So you're going to use that left knee to move, and I don't want you to move the right leg. So your right leg is extended, and you're feeling lovely stuff coming out of that tissue. And depending on where you have that ball, if it's dead center, you're probably right into the glute max, the gluteus maximus, and right underneath is a piriformis, a nasty hip extensor that creates a lot of pain in the body, including sciatica. So what I want you to do is just start to move a little bit, side to side, whatever feels okay. and maybe just pick up that ball and move it in a different location. If you're finding that you're really just above the leg bone, knowing that's going to be really close to the hamstring connection. And we want to be mindful of it, but there is a lot of stuff going on there. I want you just to feel. So what are we doing? By taking breath in and taking breath out. There are so many muscles here. I'd mentioned about it only takes one myofibril. Well, there's so many here, it's not even funny. So many different muscle groups. This is very important that we get into as much as we can in a short period of time. The glute max, again, if we're going to be penetrating, getting deeper into the tissues, we're going to ask you to bend up that right knee and then allowing that right knee to bend to the side. So you're just resting that knee, right knee to the side. Remember, it's not moving. That maybe go, hoo-hoo. Yeah, you can sing. Yeah, you can talk about that one. You can talk through breath. Because again, that pure formness, you probably never knew something was there. You can also soften your face and take the energy into your breath. And open that mouth and release it. So if you want to massage it around, you may want to pick up a little bit by pushing into that heel on the left and just feather the ball a little bit. Maybe now is a time to ask for a softer ball and saying, I give up, I give in, I recognize my ego, goodbye. Why suffer? I'm offering you some peace with a softball, nobody's asking. All right, inhale, exhale. Is nobody feeling anything? I thought so. Good. A quiet little bunch. And can anybody sing? You can sing. This is an area where you don't want to hold that stuff in. You want to help it release. So a nice exhale will help. And to exhale through the nose is not as rewarding and exhaling through the mouth. Sighing. Think about organ sighing. If your ball is up closer to your hip on the side, you're probably in the gluteus medius, and boy, is that a good one. If you're not too sure about that one, I want you to venture up a little bit. You're still in the glutes. It's still below the hip itself. But I want you to do is just see if you're on the best spot of them all.
How do you know if you're on the best spot?
That is a very good question, because some people would think that the best spot is the most painful spot. However, like I was saying earlier, perhaps the most painful spot isn't the best spot. So you have to explore. This self-therapy takes some work. And again, the dedication. If you have one of those spots going on and you don't know which one, because there's a couple, you have the opportunity to do this daily. Not for too long, though. We don't want to damage the tissue. So if, again, you're hanging out and not feathering it or creating any kind of ironing out action, like I can really feel the tissue iron out. It's like it's so tight, and then all of a sudden there's a softening and it lets me in. Oh my gosh, so do. Yes, ma'am. You're on it. So exactly the one I was talking about. You are so welcome. See, somebody just says, help me be at peace. And you can still, with that soft ball, find what you're looking for. So you go right back in directly in the same spot, and you can find that you can actually help it release easier. When you're on the hard ball, it's not so easy.
Can I try something?
Ooh. Yes, ma'am. So if you found that, yeah, that's not bad, I can't wait till you get to the other side though, then now it's time to go to the other side. So you listen to your body and what you need here. Anybody else want a softball? No takers? Let's see what the left side has to offer. So again, if you're right-handed, maybe your right leg dominant, maybe the left side is suffering. So again, starting with your legs bent, we want to go into the same kind of setup. Your knees are bent, hip distance apart, you're just resting into that area. Introducing to your body some kind of substance that is external from your body. It's definitely going, what? Okay, It can't really relax. So that's, now just relax that left leg straight. Start with straight because this is going to be the glute max. And then start to just rock around. Side to side. Maybe pushing into that heel on the right and pushing front and back. Breathing in. Releasing, maybe with your mouth. And if you know that there's a good one there, let's just bend that knee back up and take it out to the side. Relax that knee to the best you can. Opening up perhaps that piriformis area. Maybe it can't get through yet because that glute max is way too tight. Maybe pressing deep into that right heel so that you can feather, that you don't have to be on there so hard. Offering love and kindness to the body. Maybe this is a good time to go through the Ho'oponopono kind of meditation where you're saying, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. You didn't even know it was there. And I had an experience when I had to say that I didn't even remember the last two statements until I was finished with the first two. I think it took a few minutes. Before I could say thank you. I love you. So whatever you're feeling, I want you to make sure you are moving it. So you can stop for maybe 10, 20 seconds and then find the motor again. Rolling it back and forth. Maybe you need to pick that ball up literally and place it in a new area. Remember, if it's too intense, too exquisite, then it's time to just take it easy and go to a different spot. Maybe it's not ready yet. If your face is making faces, then perhaps you really need to go into breath and the softer ball. If you're using the softer ball and you're kind of scared to introduce that tennis ball again, start over and just go in with that tennis ball, because it is quite interesting when you do, because it's going, remember, the brain has a kind of response. So there's nothing wrong with just saying, okay, make sure you're there, make sure you're getting to the point, and that you're getting the full release, the full value with those opiates. Natural opiates. That's why everyone, when they're done a massage or yin, all those endorphins, oh, love, everyone's happy. Your wait, it's not over yet. Couple more, rock and roll. Roll it out. And I'm watching you, and I'm watching you when you're not moving. Don't take pleasure in your pain. Unless your intention there is, it's okay to love your pain, knowing it's going to release, and make sure it does release. So breath in, breath out, and if it isn't releasing, you may walk away and you didn't have anything going on, but you leave this place and all of a sudden you have many, many words for me. Thank goodness, maybe that's why my phone broke. I'm not going to hear about it anytime soon. I do have email. Of course, you can contact me anytime. I love the feedback. So, again, we're going to move out of this. So, having your knee come back up, both knees are flat, press into the heels, remove the ball, and lay back down in your savasana. When you're ready, remember, you are the best teacher here. Close your eyes and breathe. Feel what it is you created in your body. So there's so many spots I would love to get into, including the TFL, and that is part of your handouts. However, I'm wanting to move right to the front body. So we're going to take the ball, grab a hold of it now, and place it onto your belly button. So I want you to take it to the right of your belly button. So the belly button is pretty much in line with your 12th rib. And so we're just bringing it to the side just a little bit. And this is the Psoas connection, one of the hip flexors, one that has you come forward. Or if it's operating only one muscle at a time, it's going to have you actually go to the side. So if you lean to the side a lot and forward, then you're maybe putting lots of pressure on this guy all the time. So I want you to press it really deep with the tennis ball into this spot, rolling it around, just kind of like saying hello. And then what I'm going to have you do is come over onto your side, turn around so you're facing me, and take your ball and in onto your belly, in onto your elbows, like a Sphinx pose. So here, again, you're kind of protected, because as soon as you drop and land, then you're going to be really feeling it. So if you haven't felt it yet, so stay up on your elbows, tuck your toes under, and then just press back and forth and find a nice, good spot. Hey, Deanna. This way.
Oh, that way.
There you go. You can see me. So if you're up on your toes and you're just going back and forth, you can feel whether or not what you got going on there. And you're, again, side to side, just feeling what you're feeling. Maybe have some beautiful sounds, sighs, groans. If you don't feel anything, that's a really good sign. Or else you're probably completely off.
Yeah, more likely that.
So I'm just going to help you out here, and I'm going to lower it a little bit. So press into those elbows and come forward and back until you find like a kind of a spot where you want to hang out, and then you drop out of your elbows and then onto your savasana on the floor. So your hands are to the side by your feet, and then you're just relaxing and feeling whatever tension is now going on. And again, rocking back and forth. If you don't feel anything, come back up onto your elbows. Are you feeling something now, Sue?
No, less new. More when I'm up.
Okay, so if you feel more when you're up, then stay up for a while and then relax down. So whatever it is that's going to create the most kind of connection with what's going on. So you can just give me a little wave if you're not too sure. So a lot of you are just too far down. Need to be a little bit, too far up. Need to be a little bit closer to the hip and more inside towards the spine. So, yeah, push into your feet and then push away, like you're moving back and forth. Anybody else unsure? No, you got it? Do I hear some breathing? Relax those feet when you're relaxing and let it subside. Or let your body just become part of that ball for a moment's time. See if you can release from a 7 to a 5. And if it releases that quickly, that's wonderful. Back you go, back and forth. We don't want to rest too long. We want to work this out. We want to create this release. Now, if you're feeling any pain away from the area, again, a lot of times this is directly in correlation to the low back. But it can also, if you're nice and low on the hip, closer to the iliacus, which you want to maybe go into too, where you're really pressing onto those toes, pushing yourself forward, so that ball is going lower down in the pelvis. That is more iliacus. This one here, I find by grabbing a hold of the hip bone and then working there, and I do have a lot of clients that I do that with, right? And create lots of good stuff, including freedom of this horrible hold that when we sit all the time, drive a lot, so many different things that needs to release. And it takes a lot of tension. Some people can't even come up onto the elbows because it's so tight. Rocking back and forth. Side to side. If you're not feeling anything, go to the other side. So again, if you're feeling something, and you want to give it a break and just find out whether or not it can subside quite a bit, just breathe in and breathe out. And when you're ready, take it to the other side. The softball is very nice to have to do this one with. However, not near is, well, it's definitely not dramatic. But it's definitely not going to offer the same kind of feeling, same type of feedback from the brain. So I do recommend that you use the hard ball at least for a moment's time and then decide whether or not you want to return to the softball. So again, going to the other side, are you sure you're in the right spot? One way that you can tell if you're not really in the right spot is if your legs start to fall asleep. If it starts to get warm. We don't want that. I mean, it's pretty obvious that you're on an artery when everything just starts to heat up and in a different way. That's way different than a nerve. You're not going to hit a nerve here. But we don't want to be on the aorta artery. That's why I have you away from the center of your spine. And so as long as you're not in the center of your spine, I'm sure you're fine. However, if you're getting really close to the hip, just be very cautious if you're going way below the hip. Again, you can hit that artery too, the femoral artery. A lot of breath. Anybody not finding a spot? I bet you're looking forward to your massage, Deanna. Oops. Anybody? Softball? I'm glad you asked for that one, Alan, because I know that definitely you have lots of stuff going on in there.
All this gyrating must look really good on camera.
I say make love to your ball. And literally, we're just really loving our bodies and helping release. And love is the best medicine, I'll tell you. So everybody's on the left-hand side, yes? And it's almost time to do some stretching. So we've released or working on releasing two major trigger points. The glutes, maybe a couple of different areas in the glutes, and maybe a couple different areas in the hip flexors. If you feel like you're really still working it, continue, please. Otherwise, I want you to lay down in savasana without the ball. Taking your hands by your side, your feet connected, relaxed, hands facing up to the ceiling. You're on your belly, you're still on your belly. Feet together, no ball. Everybody turn your head to the right, so we're all operating the same. Knowing that it is so important to create balance and symmetry in everything we do. Knowing that we are ideally, not ideally, ultimately asymmetrical creatures. So just slowly, with breath, take your head to the other side. Relax. Feel the difference in the stretch. Simple little stretch. Relax the shoulders. Relax the whole body. Become very heavy on your mat. And when you're ready, taking your hands underneath your shoulders, taking your feet hip distance apart. And then I want you to just stay here for a moment and just feel your chin in connection. Relax your glutes. And then I want you to lift up. We're going to only use spine here, so it's a little bit of a core work for the spinal. So the elbows are tucked in. And of course, we have our legs apart. We're not contracting down, pushing into the floor or anything like that. Very simple little connection with the spine, with your chin tucked up a little bit by just looking at the front of your mat. Staying here for another 2 breaths. We're never holding the breath, remember. Just a simple little contraction, not using the spine, not using the hands so much. And then release back into your savasana. Breathing in and breathing out. Take a look again and bring your chin back up. Take your hands back up and go back into the elbows. Remember I talked about having onto the elbows? You're pressing into the elbows here with those feet hip distance apart still. And this is called a Sphinx pose. So if you connect your elbows and you grab a hold, you know that you are in the perfect position for this posture. If that is uncomfortable, maybe you need to walk it out a little bit. Otherwise, if that feels good, it doesn't hurt your back, you can stay here, or you can connect your palms into like a prayer position. Relax your glutes. Press in to those shoulders now. So we're pressing into the shoulders. Feel it in the front body. Feel your glutes. You want to relax them to the best you can. You are now stretching the front body. Breathing in, breathing out. If you want to relax your head down for a nice little stretch, you can do that too. We're going to stay here for 2 minutes. We're just going to feel what it's like to rest the front body. And if you need to use your glutes at all, it can help you stay up in this position because it does contract the back muscle just a little bit. Maybe you need that as a guide. So use that at your own discrepancy. Breathing in, And breathing out. And this is our first yin posture. Yin opposed to yang. When you're vacuuming, that's yang. When you're walking, that's yang. And there's a lot of different yang yogas, like the flow, the ashtanga, the hot yogas. But the yin is where we take it to a position and then hold for time. So just think about your belly sinking closer to the mat. Maybe you don't want to press into those elbows so much. Maybe you do. Again, making it your own practice. Paying attention to the breath. Allowing those thoughts to be put on a shelf. You can go there later. Right now, you're here on your mat doing your yoga, listening to your body, feeling. Breathing. We're staying here for another 5 conscious breaths. So if breathing consciously is part of your way to connect and focus in on your actual posture, lengthen your breath. Create that anjaya, that ocean wave. Beautiful. I want you to slowly allow your head to sink if it hasn't already. Allow the shoulders to sink and allow yourself to walk your arms out. Back in, slow, slow, slow. Back onto just your whole body opening. Maybe going into a complete savasana. Your choice. Breathe in. Breathe out. Make note of the position that you put your head in. Are you to the right or left? We're going to do that one last time. So when you're ready, taking yourself back up into your Sphinx position. And this time, offering a little more, perhaps. If you were good here and a little more is not an option, maybe a little more is a little bit more behind with your elbows underneath those shoulders. Otherwise, you're going to turn your hands out, so your thumbs are a little bit out, and I want you to press into those fingers. Maybe you're just coming off the mat here and going into a seal pose. So you want to have your lower body in contact, and the glutes here have huge say here. If it wants to help out and have you come up, that's one way. But if you can come up without the glutes, that's the best way to help relax that front body. So this is a little bit of a hold. We're only going to hold this one for 2 minutes. We've already been in it for a minute and a half. So again, make sure that the hands are not too close together. And if you're going to stay in the Sphinx, very, very good choice and a very wise decision in terms of making sure you're not doing too much. Make sure that you have your hands at least mat width apart, especially if you have long arms. I want you to, again, think about what's going on with the upper body. If you want to relax the head, you can. I recommend just looking at the top of the mat. If you came up for a little bit and you feel, oh, that's too much, then go back into your Sphinx, onto your elbows. If you want to go forward, you can bring up your feet, and that will help connect to that iliacus. So that is just, think about those lower hip portions. So we have the whole hip, front body in contact with the floor. Breathe in. And breathe out. Maybe release those glutes even more. Maybe not. Maybe you need them. Maybe you're halfway up, halfway down. Make a choice. If you're halfway up, halfway down, come back down on your elbows. You're good here too. We're only here for another 5 breaths. Breathe in, breathe out. If you want, you can take your chin up, even lengthening more from the front body. Breathing in. And breathing out, and recognizing that yoga is a process rather than a goal. It's not the goal here. You're not going to get flexible today. What we're doing is releasing that trigger point and helping it lengthen. We're not going to hurt it more. If you haven't done this, then listen to your body. When you're ready, just to drop the feet down with control. Relax again. Relax the glutes. Slow, super slow. Coming back down to elbows if you're up. And allow yourself to come on all the way down. Slow, slow, slow. And release the opposite way. If we went right, now you're going left. Relieving the body. Breathe. Maybe just shaking the hips a little bit, side to side. And when you're ready, taking your hands back underneath your shoulders and press yourself up into a nice child's pose here. So if you can connect the feet, that's fine, but don't overlap them. I want you just to stay on your elbows right now and relax here, allowing the low back to settle. And when you feel ready, if your feet are a little wider, then you will have the opportunity to go deeper, but be careful here. Going too fast is not always a good thing. To extend the hands up over the head into your child's pose and just allow yourself to rest and be in one of the most beautiful postures. Making sure you have full connection with your elbows. Taking those knees a little bit farther apart, perhaps. Relaxing those toes. And just feel what's going on in the front body. Feel what's going on in the back body. Take note of the position that you're in. Great opportunity to give thanks. Maybe thinking of something, someone in your life that you can send love and gratitude. Just a couple more breaths here. So think about the contact that you can make with your head, your third eye. Maybe you want to take this opportunity to turn your palms up and receive. Beautiful. And when you're ready, slowly keeping your chin tucked under, find yourself all the way up onto your seat, and then scoot yourself to the side. finding yourself on your back again with your knees bent, nice and slow, maybe landing onto your elbows for a moment, and just allow yourself to go into a hammock position here while you're just allowing the body to relax before you make yourself back down onto your back. Rest. Reposition. Open up that heart. And there are so many ways to stretch out the glutes. And I have a couple favorites, including pigeon. But to do something nice and simple that everybody probably can do anyways, like thread the needle. So what we're going to do is just bring both knees back up, hip distance apart, pause and breathe. Feet flat on the floor. And then let's pick up that right leg and place that ankle over top of the left knee. So in this place, I want you just to rest here and not doing anything. Again, the hands are just out doing whatever it's doing. Your foot is relaxed in this moment. You're just feeling whatever you're offering to your body. Maybe that's enough of a stretch for you. Maybe not. So if you want, you can press into your toes and walk your heel closer to your knees, or you can actually pick up your leg and grab a hold by threading your hand through that window and grabbing a hold of either the top of the knee or maybe the hamstring here. This is where we really want to flex the foot on the right and making sure that we're protecting the knee. And give a feeling what's going on in space, like a kinesthetic kind of awareness of your hips. Are you leaning to the side? Try to find as much balance as you can. So how low are you grabbing a hold of your knee? Try to go up top there and pull it into the chest. That should be enough to really trigger a nice stretch for the glutes. Maybe you want to keep the glutes down. You don't have to. A lot of people who have lower back problems, that's probably not a good idea. Just breathe here. If it's getting too much, I want you to just ask for me to bring you something to create a little bit more peace. We're going to hold this for a couple minutes. Breathing in and breathing out. Recognizing whether or not we need something underneath the head if it's lifting up too high. Keep breathing. It's important that we get in and just relax here. Just relax now. And just use whatever format you can to help release the glutes. And if it's too much to hold, then just taking note of that and allowing the body to do the most easy thing for you today. We're going to hold this for another 5 breaths. A lot of times we will fall into a place where we're actually moving in towards that joint that's feeling the stretch. Stay with the breath. And then what I want you to do is take a couple more breaths here in this space with your arms released, your legs still up. And then slowly lower that leg down over to the left-hand side. And so that's going to, again, feel it right into that, more of that hip flexor area. So if you want your hands up, we're only going to hold this one for a minute. I want you just to feel what it's like to feel the side of the hip. Maybe you want the palms up into a cactus, maybe just where you are right now. So if you want, and you have that foot connected to the floor, you want to work on that knee coming away from you now. You're going to feel more into the glute. Take it easy here. Breathing in and breathing out. Maybe you're going to press with that left leg into your ankle and open up that knee to the side on the right. If you're not feeling much here, that's a good sign. Not everybody has the same thing going on. Again, just feeling whether or not you feel it into your glutes. That was the area we were working on anyway. Just a couple more breaths here. One more. Bring it back up. Inhale, exhale. Stay here for a moment. Releasing the foot. Doing whatever you want with that foot. Maybe kicking it out. Maybe just doing a couple windshield wiper moves because it feels so nice. And then landing yourself back into hip distance apart with your knees facing the ceiling. And then taking that left ankle and placing it over top of the knee. And then again, just resting here, not getting into any, I don't need to get anywhere far. I'm just feeling right now. What are the hips doing? If you have weaker hips or if you have weaker muscles, perhaps it's just falling out to the side where you have to really gather up your own intention on what you want this to look and feel like. You may have to call in a little bit of muscle here to support the leg. And then when you're ready to thread the needle and grab a hold of that right knee or that right hamstring, taking a notice of how you're doing with your spine. Tucking that chin under, creating more length. Maybe really protecting that left knee by bringing that left toe into a flexed position. Breathing in, breathing out. And one thing that you will really notice here is whether or not, if your knee, your left knee is coming closer to your shoulder or your face, that is how tight you are in the hip flexor. That's okay. You know what to do. That's easy. Do yoga. That's all it takes. A little care, do, and attention. Maybe only 15 minutes a day. I want you to stay here for another 3 breaths. Really gather in that chi, that energy. Remove the thoughts and come back to breath. And when you're ready, releasing the hands and taking that foot over towards the right hand side and resting that foot down, the knee down, and feel that twist with the idea of taking that knee closer to me, away from you, feeling more of a stretch. If you didn't feel it on one side, maybe you feel it on this side. Beautiful. Really wanting to work out this area, this trigger point that you worked on. Doing your best. Breathing for another 3 breaths. Beautiful. And when you're ready, just gather a little bit of muscle here to bring yourself back up with your knee. Stay in this position for 1 more breath and release that leg, hip distance apart or greater, farther than the mat, and then do your windshield wiper. Really release those hips. And then I'm going to ask you to just move into one final twist. If you don't know one, then you're just going to do what I'm going to tell you to do. So you're just going to take your hands out to the side, minding your neighbors. Either just keeping your feet on the floor or lifting it up and allowing it over to drop to the left. And having your hands either in cactus or in T, whatever's working for you and your neighbor. And maybe taking a look again at the other opposite hand, the right. Just staying here for a few breaths. Maybe taking that left hand onto your knee if that feels nice. Or just breath. Try to make sure that you have contact with the floor with your knees. Go into relaxation on this twist. Beautiful. Breathing in and breathing out. One more breath. And release. Bring your head back to center, knees back up. Give yourself a hug here. Big inhale. Hug your knees. Release your knees and do the exact same thing you did to the other side. So if you went with your knees down, your feet down, or if you're just going to drop over to the side, do the same thing with your arms. Match it. Create that symmetry the best you can. Breathing in and breathing out. Close your eyes and feel inside your body. Releasing, relaxing. Beautiful. And slowly come back to center. Give yourself another hug here. Nah, that's a nice one. I love this light. Sorry about the video. Hear my voice. I want you to extend down into your savasana in whatever fashion you want. If you want your feet wider, like a pentacle action, hands up, whatever works for you and your neighbor perhaps. Still wanting to offer more of a openness, a full release, so the palms are up facing the ceiling, receiving. Receiving not only from you, from those that work beside you. And we offer into a place where we can really feel our bodies and our mind in unison with breath. Have that consciousness, breathing in, breathing out. Just a couple more breaths with the conscious behaviors of what's going on in the body, relaxing the body. knowing that anytime we walk in to yoga, you're like doing mind training. Where we're not only training the body, but since the body is the true master here, it's training the mind. So as it works with unison with the body, with that yoke, doing yoga, then we get more into the practice of freeing up the body and mind. So take a couple minutes in your savasana, recognizing any fidgeting, any energy that's left over. Having a recharged body, maybe a different body, knowing that you have created something new, a new practice perhaps. As we come back to our bodies and our minds together, maybe starting off with a simple little movement with the fingers and the toes. Maybe just moving them, rolling them, creating nice gentle movements to awaken the body. And since we started in this position, we will end in this position. So if you can bring your feet closer together, and take your hands and interlace them and reach them up over your head towards the floor and do a stretch and take a nice inhale, taking your toes, pointing them. And exhale, relax fully, allowing your shoulders to come back down, your arms to release by your body. And if you can, take your palms into a prayer position in front of your heart center. And just finding your true here. Find the breath one more time. Taking thought of bowing to your most valuable teacher, yourself. Whoever spared personal pain must feel himself called to help in diminishing the pain of others. We must carry our share of the misery which lies upon the world, says Albert Schweitzer. And I say to you, I see the light in you as you see the light in me. Thank you for coming. Namaste.